You work. They hid the truth from you not in the form of a conspiracy, but in plain sight, woven into your education, your upbringing, and your daily habits. You were trained to think small, act safe, and stay in line. From childhood, the message was clear: play by the rules, don't question authority. Follow the path laid out before you. But here's what they never told you. Wealth is not a product of following the system. It's the result of breaking free from it. You see, the system is designed to produce employees, not entrepreneurs. Watch you work. It's designed to keep you trading your time for just enough money to survive, but never enough to thrive. And if you don't wake up to this truth, you work. You'll spend your entire life climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. Look at the way you've been taught to think about money. Go to school, get a job, work hard, retire one day if you're lucky. This formula is broken, outdated, and created to benefit others, not you. The wealthy don't follow this path. They understand that money flows to those who solve problems, not to those who punch clocks. They invest in themselves. You work, build systems, and leverage resources. They've trained their minds to seek opportunity, not security. And that's the secret they kept from you. The fact that wealth is a mindset long before it is a reality. The root of being broke isn't always external. It's internal. It's not just a lack of income. It's a lack of insight. Until you believe you are worthy of more, until you believe that you can create more, you work. Your circumstances will reflect that poverty of thought. And here lies the greatest deception of all, Jew. You work. They made you believe that your value is tied to your job title, your hourly wage, your resume. But your true value lies in your ideas, your resilience. You work. Your ability to create something from nothing. That's what they don't teach you in school. That's what society doesn't reward at first glance. You work. But it's the truth behind every self-made millionaire and visionary. To rise above being broke, you work. You must first break free from the invisible chains of conditioning. You must start thinking in terms of value, ownership, and creation. Shift from, how can I earn more, to, how can I create more? That one question, when asked daily, you will do more to change your financial life than any job ever could. The power is in your hands. But only once you reclaim your mind. You work. You've been told all your life that working hard is the key to success. That if you just put in more hours, stay committed, and hustle longer than everyone else, eventually you'll be rewarded. But if that were true, then why are so many hard working people still broke? Work. Why do people with 2 or 3 jobs still struggle to pay their bills? It's because hard work alone is not enough. That's the part they didn't teach you. The real secret is not in working harder. It's in thinking differently. The wealthy don't chase money. They attract it. How? By solving problems, creating value, and thinking in terms of leverage. Leverage means doing more with less. Less time, less effort, less personal input. It's building something once that continues to pay you repeatedly. They invest in assets, not just effort. They build businesses, systems, while they work, and investments that work for them even when they sleep. You work. And the reason most people never get there is because no one ever taught them how to escape the cycle of trading time for money. When you're stuck in the employee mindset, you see time as your most valuable resource. You protect it, sell it, and stretch it. You work. But when you adopt the wealth mindset, you understand that ideas, relationships, and systems are far more powerful than hours on a clock. That shift is what creates freedom. You work. That's what they never wanted you to learn. Because a mind that knows how to create its own economy is a mind that cannot be controlled. You work. It starts with rejecting the lie that you have to work until you die. You must unlearn the belief that income is only earned through labor. You work, you need to study wealth creation like a science. Learn about cash flow, investments, digital assets, intellectual property. Terms they never emphasized in school because they weren't designed to make you rich. They were designed to make you obedient. Your freedom won't come from doing more of the same. It will come from daring to think like the top 1%. From choosing to become a producer of value, not just a consumer of time. This is the secret that's been kept from you, not out of malice, but out of design. Now that you know it, you can never unsee it. They work. What you do next will define your financial future forever. You work. There's a reason so many people feel stuck, even when they're doing everything right. They follow the rules, show up on time, pay their bills. You work and try to save what little they can. And yet, no matter how hard they work, they never seem to get ahead. You work. That's not because they're incapable. It's because they've been operating under a false framework. They were never given the full blueprint. The truth was withheld wealth doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from purpose and vision. Most people drift through life without a definite purpose. They react to circumstances instead of creating them. They change jobs, pick careers, and even make life decisions based on what others expect from them, not on what they truly want. But those who rise to financial greatness don't live by chance. They live by design. They have a clear aim. You work. They know what they want, why they want it, and what they're willing to do to achieve it. That kind of clarity is magnetic. It pulls in people, resources, and opportunities. When you live without purpose, you live without power. You become subject to distractions, detours, and doubts. You chase temporary comfort instead of long-term fulfillment. And this is the trap they never told you about. They kept you busy with tasks, distracted by trends, and sedated by entertainment. But they never asked you to define your purpose, because a person without purpose is easy to control. A person with purpose, what you work, however, becomes unstoppable. The moment you decide what you truly want, not what society told you to want, not what your parents expected, but what you genuinely desire, you begin to awaken a force within that changes everything. That decision is the birthplace of wealth. You work, because once you have a definite aim, your mind begins to filter the world differently. You start noticing opportunities, aligning your habits, and building momentum. Purpose gives direction, and direction gives power. So if you feel broke, lost, or stuck, start by getting honest about what you want. Define your purpose. Clarify your vision. Then commit to it with everything you have. This is the part they never taught you. You work, but it's the foundation of every wealth story ever written. Without purpose, there is only drifting. With purpose, there is destiny. Work. From the moment you could understand words, you were taught to fear failure. Mistakes were punished, risks were discouraged, and conformity was rewarded. Over time, this programming took root. You began to equate security with safety and safety with success. But here's the hard true thing. You work. The fear you were taught to obey is the very thing keeping you broke. The wealthy learned early or painfully that failure is not the enemy. It is the tuition you pay for success. Fear is the invisible wall between you and your potential. It whispers lies in your ear. What if you lose everything? What if you're not good enough? What if you try and it doesn't work? And so you stay in place. You work, convinced that playing it safe is the smarter option. But the people who build real wealth don't obey fear. They use it. Well, they understand that fear is not a stop sign. It's a compass. It points directly to the area where growth and reward exist. You've been taught to seek comfort. That's why you look for steady jobs, stable incomes, and guaranteed outcomes. But comfort is the enemy of progress. Nothing great was ever built from a place of certainty. The richest minds in history took calculated risks. They stepped into the unknown. You work, trusting their preparation, their vision, and their persistence. That's how they grew. That's how they won. Work, that's how they created while others stayed stuck. The truth is, you won't eliminate fear, but you can override it. How? By building your belief stronger than your doubt. By choosing growth over comfort. By acting even when you're scared. Because every time you step through fear, you expand your power. You prove to yourself that fear is an illusion, a story made up in the mind. And each time you do, the mind becomes a little freer. You work, a little bolder, a little wealthier. They never taught you this because a fearless person is hard to control. While they work, a fearless person can't be manipulated by scarcity or fear-based news. A fearless person doesn't settle. They create. And when you stop letting fear make your decisions, you start making progress. Real, tangible, life-changing progress. The people you admire didn't get where they are because they were lucky or fearless. They just acted in spite of fear again and again. Now it's your turn. You work the fear that's been holding you back. Walk through it. On the other side is the wealth, the life, and the freedom you've always wanted. You've been surrounded by messages your whole life. Messages from family, teachers, media, and society. And without even realizing it, you work. Those messages shaped your beliefs about money, success, and what's possible for you. But here's the true thing. Your environment has hypnotized you into accepting a limited life. The thoughts you think, the people you listen to, you work, the routines you follow, they've all contributed to your current financial reality. And if you want to change your life, you work. You must first change what surrounds your mind. The people around you may love you, but that doesn't mean they understand wealth. Many of them, despite good intentions, pass down scarcity thinking. Money doesn't grow on trees. Be grateful you have a job. Don't aim too high, or you'll be disappointed. These ideas don't come from abundance. They come from fear. And if you're constantly surrounded by that mindset, it becomes your truth even if you never agreed to it. Media adds another layer. Every day, you're bombarded with news of economic collapse, rising costs, you work, and uncertainty. The goal isn't just to inform you. It's to keep you afraid, distracted, and emotionally reactive. Because when people are scared, they stop dreaming, they stop creating, they stay in survival mode. And in survival mode, wealth creation is impossible. But here's the shift, dog. While they watch you work, you don't have to accept the programming. You can choose what you feed your mind. You can choose who you spend time with. You can decide what content enters your mind and what gets rejected. Your mind is a garden. If you don't intentionally plant seeds of wealth, growth, and purpose, the weeds of fear, doubt, and limitation will take over by default. Every wealthy person, at some point, changed their environment. Mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. They sought out new ideas, surrounded themselves with winners, studied success, and removed toxic voices from their path. They took responsibility for their mindset and refused to let their surroundings dictate their future. You have that same power. You can decide, right now, while they watch you work, to step out of the environment that's been holding you back. To stop listening to broke advice. To stop living in someone else's version of realistic. This isn't just about thinking positive. It's about building a new mental world where wealth is normal. You work, growth is expected, and greatness is the standard. You don't need to wait for permission. Change your environment, and you'll change your future. That's the truth they hoped you'd never figure out. ChatGPT said, from the moment you could think for yourself, you were guided by repetition. They work. The words you heard, the ideas you accepted, and the beliefs you absorbed became your reality. You work. What you didn't realize is that repetition is a form of programming, and it was used to shape your view of money. You work. The wealthiest people in the world understand something most never discovered. You are not broke because of your income. You are broke because of your programming. You work, and unless you reprogram your mind, you will continue to attract the same financial results, no matter how hard you work. You work. Most people walk through life with limiting money scripts running unconsciously in the background. I'm not good with money. Rich people are greedy. Making money is hard. Or, I'll never get ahead. These thoughts weren't born inside of you. They were implanted. Through experiences, repetition, and authority figures, they became embedded. And once a belief is planted, the mind begins to filter life to confirm it. This is why some people never rise, no matter how much potential they have. Reprogramming your mind isn't a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. It starts with awareness. You must become conscious of the thoughts you think and question where they come from. Then, you must choose new beliefs, ones that align with wealth, abundance, and ownership. Tell yourself daily, I am worthy of wealth. Opportunities flow to me. I am building assets, not just income. Say it, write it, visualize it. Because what you repeat, you believe. And what you believe, you become. This is the secret they never revealed. They taught you how to memorize, but not how to think. You work. They taught you facts, but not how to master your mind. That's why you can be intelligent and still broke. Because intelligence isn't the key. You work. Programming is. And the wealthiest people have simply installed different mental software. They expect to win. They believe in growth. They feel comfortable with abundance. They've trained their minds to spot opportunity, not limitation. Every time you speak negatively about money, you reinforce lack. Every time you focus on bills instead of building, you deepen scarcity. But every time you declare abundance, focus on value, and act with intention, you begin to rewire your reality. It may feel slow at first, even awkward. But over time, the new programming takes over. And when it does, your behavior changes, your decisions improve, and your bank account begins to mirror your internal transformation. You were never meant to stay stuck. You were simply taught the wrong script. Now it's time to rewrite it, one thought at a time. You work. They never told you that the greatest power you'll ever possess is the ability to choose your thoughts. Not just casually. You work, but deliberately, because your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Most people believe life happens to them. They blame circumstances, the economy, bad luck, or a lack of opportunity. But the truth is, your outer world is only a reflection of your inner world. If you want wealth on the outside, you work. You must build it on the inside first. You've been trained to think in patterns. Wake up, go to work, pay bills, repeat. But true wealth doesn't come from routines alone. It comes from creation, and creation begins with thinking differently. What you believe about yourself. You work. What you believe about money, and what you believe about success will either open the door to abundance or keep you locked in a cycle of scarcity. While they watch, the moment you take full responsibility for those beliefs is the moment your life begins to shift. You work. Every wealthy person you admire started by mastering their internal dialogue. They decided who they were, what they wanted, and what they were willing to become. While they watch you work, they didn't wait for external permission. They didn't let past failures define their future. You work. They focused their minds like a laser on the outcome they desired, and took relentless action in alignment with that vision. You can do the same while they watch you work, but only if you stop letting your old thoughts run the show. You must start asking yourself powerful questions. What am I choosing to believe about money today? Does this belief serve my highest wealth potential? What do I need to unlearn to grow? These questions force awareness. You work, and awareness is the first step to transformation. Because once you see that your thoughts are creating your results, you'll no longer be a victim. You'll be a creator. The secret they never taught you is that wealth is a mental game first. Yes, strategies matter. Yes, action is crucial. But nothing works if the mind is working against you. No tactic will stick if your beliefs scream, "This won't work for me." That's why mindset isn't just a motivational phrase. It's the foundation of everything. You are not stuck. You are simply repeating thoughts that produce the same outcomes. The good news, you can choose new thoughts. You can rewire your reality. You can decide today to think like a millionaire, speak like a leader, act like a creator, and watch your world rise to match your vision. That's not magic. That's mastery.